us, and we've got two of the Top Young Allison Legacy Series racers with us in the studio. They will be joining us shortly. Matthew Davey and Luke Akers will be on the program as well. My name is Tom Baker. I am joined by Jacob Seelman, who is feisty tonight.
Yes,
must be the orange vanilla Coke.
Yes, I'm repping for Daniel Suarez tonight, by the way.
It was a nice-looking car.
Jacob is nice-looking. It was a
writes
fast
for Speed
car,
Sport, and Randy Miller is behind the glass over there, punching all the audio buttons. And we've got, of course, Chris Murdoch also on the video side of things, and you'll hear both of their voices during the show tonight before we're done as well. And actually, in about, 9 days or so, Randy will be bringing back his particular podcast, which is called The Inside Pass. He and I will kibitz on a weekly basis and talk all things racing and have some fun. So looking forward to that. And you'll be able to hear that on Wednesday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern. It will be live as opposed to dead because it sounds better that way. And with that,
I'm just not even going to try to drink this if you're going to keep going like that.
Let's talk Talladega.
I can't even help him out, and that's my show he's talking about.
I almost had you, Jacob. Almost. I'll get you one of these days.
Let's not with technology in front of me, and let's just talk about Talladega.
Let's talk about Talladega for a little bit. My first impression of the Cup race, yay, NASCAR finally got it right. That was really, for me, from start to finish, that was a classic Talladega throwdown. There was never a point where you felt like there was no racing going on. I mean, they ran in the pack, but with a few exceptions, they pretty much behaved themselves. There wasn't nearly the contact that and the pushing and shoving that you're used to. And the couple times that there was, well, you saw what happened.
Yeah.
Things got broken, and so.
A lot less things got broken than I
expected. And that was for me, that was the thing, is we never had the big one. I mean, I suppose if you ask Kyle Larson, he had a big one. But, we never had that 20-car crash that we're used to.
Are you complaining?
No, I think that's a plus. I mean, it seemed like to me, what we saw was, you said it off before the show started, it was the late 80s, early 90s kind of
late 90s or late 90s, early 2000s.
Well, same thing, really. I mean, back in those days.
No, not just after they put the plates on. I'm talking about with the little roof wicker and some of the early 2000s races. It felt to me like the races, the Dale's last win, drivers who could come from 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th to, third, second, first late in the running if Chevy wasn't being Chevy. We'll get to Chevy being Chevy in a minute. But first, I have always said, especially when this show went video, that the best part of this show is that I can make a mockery of myself and be okay with it. So
do a good job of that.
Please hold. I'm going to demonstrate my opinion of Sunday's Cup race. Dear NASCAR, happy dance.
Wow. Okay. Those of you watching on Facebook Live, I'm sorry. Sorry you had to witness that.
I'm not.
That was probably the finest case of dippling that we've ever had. All we need is the
re-entry.
Yeah.
Randy will work on that.
Wow.
Later.
Okay.
Anyway, seriously, I wanted to do cartwheels down the front stretch after that race because
that would have been better than
I would have actually enjoyed seeing that.
Well, I can't do cartwheels, so that's the next best thing. Anyway,
you can't do what you just did either.
No. You know
either
what,
way,
Randy?
We're winning either way. So
I told you I was going to make a mockery of myself, and if I can't laugh at myself, dang it, then there's something wrong with me.
We can. If you can't, we can.
Yes.
So
somebody in this room will laugh at you. There's too many people in here not to.
Moving on. Case in point, NASCAR absolutely 10,000% got it right. That's the first time since about 2004 that I've been on the edge of my seat, entertained, nervous, like goosebumps on my arms for the entire race, start to finish. There was never a point where you could settle down. There was never a point where you could just breathe and go, okay, we're good for a few laps.
Yep.
That never happened, whether it was fuel conservation, drivers getting runs, drivers blocking drivers basically getting wrecked trying to block other drivers. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute too. It was wonderful. It was absolutely. I'm sorry, Blake Harris just totally screwed up my train of thought.
See, Blake, thank you. Blake Harris in our chat says Jacob Seelman for Dancing with the Stars 2020.
Yeah, whatever.
Sure, let's do it. It worked for Elio.
I can't say.
Didn't work for Michael, though.
No,
I think
God,
you're
no.
more Michael than Elio, so probably not.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
2 left feet.
Anyhow, long story short, I cannot sing the praises of that package any more than I just did. It's great. This is the style of super speedway racing that we need. However, don't be surprised if they come back with a slightly bit smaller tapered spacer in July at Daytona, because 204 top-end speed had some people a little nervous, me included, after final practice on Saturday.
Well, you know what?
Or Friday, I mean.
I have my own thought on that, but I'm going to save it for a second because I want to hear from Randy. What were your thoughts on the race?
For a minute there, I was watching the race, and I had to go to info on my box to make sure I wasn't watching like ESPN or HD. 'Cause I was like,
I told you, it was a time
It
warp.
really was. Jacob's absolutely right. You look at that race, and it's everything that you want as a NASCAR fan. All the people that complained all season long and all last year and the last 5 years about how the racing is boring and the racing sucks, watch the Talladega race on video, and I guarantee you'll change your opinion really quick about the whole racing action.
Men.
I agree totally with everything you guys are saying. It definitely was an old-fashioned throwdown. And as far as for me, I mean, look, I'm not in the cars, obviously, and there are people who are much better decision makers on that than me.
Yes.
But to me, the difference between 195 and 204 would not be, I don't believe necessarily that the speed was too fast. What I'm hoping doesn't happen is that if they make that change, because we finally got a race that was a race, I'm hoping it doesn't choke the throttle response, because me, that was the key. By putting that tapered spacer in, they gained about 100 horsepower over what the plate.
It was 400 with the plate. It was 550 with the spacer.
Okay, they said 100 on the broadcast. So, but
Fox
regardless of 100, 150, I wouldn't want to see that come back too much, because then we get back to what we have with the restrictor.
No, and I don't think it will. But I do think there's that 200 to 204 range is what we talk about, the top end speed, when we talk about flips like we saw with Larson on the last lap of that race, where the excess speed does contribute to a self blowover sort of a crash. We can talk more about that.
Self blowover.
You weren't ever a sim racer. Chris Murdoch's back there somewhere nodding that I just used the word blowover. So anyway, in other news, the other thing we learned from Sunday, dear Chevy, welcome to the manufacturer's party. It's about freaking time.
Well,
and it only took Jim Campbell yelling at all of them to work together for them to actually do it.
Well, I mean, do we look at this race, and are you concluding from that race that suddenly Chevy's going to go contend on 5th mile or 1.5 miles?
I wasn't talking about 1.5 miles at all. I was talking about the fact that Chevy woke up and realized what Ford and Toyota have been doing on the super speedways for the last 3 years. That's the party that they were late to. Toyota started it in the 16500 when they worked together and dominated the draft.
So you're not, okay, I see what you're saying. Just the idea of working together. Okay,
the idea
gotcha.
of working together in the draft, which Jim Campbell basically set them all down and had a meeting before going into Talladega and said, you are going to work together.
Yeah.
Thank you, bye.
Yeah.
And it happened. And every Chevy driver that finished in the top 6 referenced that meeting and said how refreshing it was that they all actually worked together to achieve a common goal. And, oh, look, who won? Chase Elliott in a bow tie.
Yeah, well, I mean, and you know, that was great, because you know what happens when Chase Elliott wins, right?
You get free wings at Hooters.
Yeah, and Chris and I took full advantage of that for lunch today.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it was definitely a great race, and it was good to see the Chevys work together, and I do 100% agree that it is about time, because in this day and age, the only way that you're going to compete at the Cup level is to work together as manufacturers, and that includes
Correct.
even across teams with data.
Yep.
I mean, you can't be selfish anymore.
And that's exactly the word that Joey Logano used to describe especially the two Hendrick teammates on the final lap. He called Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman selfless in the draft as being a major reason why they won that race. And we watched it. Basically, in the final laps, you had the 22 and the 17, a pair of Fords. You had a pair of brothers on the outside that didn't work. And then behind the two Fords, you had 6 bow ties lined up on the inside lane going into that final restart. And we saw where 4 of them ended up. 1, 2, 3, and would have been 4 if not for Joey in the outside lane.
Well, and see, I think that, that race could have just as easily gone the other way. You had the Fords together. You had a good bit of the Toyota group together
the problem
at one point,
was the Fords and Toyotas were the ones that all got wrecked.
Right, and so, I give the Chevys credit, because the fact that they did work together is what got them eventually, got them the win and such. But
oh, hey, Ty Dillon won a stage too, by the way.
He did, and that's the second stage
win this year, more than his brothers got. Let's take a break.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got more. We got a bunch of special guests coming up. Stick around. The Stock Car Show, presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety. We'll be right back.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach.
is that it's a high-speed chess match is really what it is.
Absolutely.
And, it's so much about positioning and timing and when do you make your move and all of that. And, boy, Greg Gaulding at the end, on that last restart, I told myself that, okay, Greg Gaulding has this is setting up to be the Hollywood finish. Greg Gaulding's going to win, and the whole speedway is going to just blow up. Like it's going to be an incredible. That would have been an amazing thing to see, and you've seen it in the past with guys like Lenny Pond in the Junie Donlevy car at Talladega, David Reagan in the Front Row Motorsports car.
And even I would have to go back a little bit to look at some of the Xfinity Series surprise winners.
Well, I was just really talking about Cup, but obviously I'm sure both.
Gaulding was the Xfinity Series race. That was Saturday.
Right.
That was not Sunday.
That's right. That was Sunday. I'm screwed up. Yeah, you're right. It was. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want, and I agree with you on those two, by the way. But if you want to go back to Xfinity Series surprise winners, Spencer Gallagher comes to mind. Regan Smith. Maybe in 2013, I don't think anybody necessarily expected that.
I don't agree with that one, only because he's a junior car. I mean, you just
Greg Sachs in '96, I know,
sure,
and even Mike McLaughlin in 2001 is another one that was kind of jumped out of the woodwork.
Yeah, a pair of former modified drivers there. But no, Gaulding's run reminded me so much of a typical Talladega, who knows who's going to be up front or who's going to be in the wall.
Right.
And you go into that caution thinking, okay, there's no way that this can't happen. Like, this is just a foregone conclusion. Greg Gaulding's going to pull this off.
And if it wasn't for Tyler Reddick blocking his butt off, Greg Gaulding probably would have. And let's be clear, when Clint Boyer says during the post-qualifying bullpen, that Reddick kid blocked his you-know-what off. I'm not going to say it because it's a family show. But and then in the next breath he goes, you ain't going to be able to do that on Sunday or you're going to get turned.
But here's my favorite part of this, though, is you got to the point in both races with the blocking. I mean, on Saturday, you're saying, okay, we can't get away with that on Sunday. And on Sunday, there were a number of drivers who kind of went, hold my beer. I mean, and it's like you saying to me, they can't get close enough to each other to push. And I told you that, when we get to Sunday, they'll find a way. They did.
But it wasn't faster.
No, and it ended up being disaster. For a couple of them. I mean, obviously Bubba Wallace made a serious gaffe.
Right.
And that was a deal where he obviously didn't start off to be over aggressive.
No.
He just got a big run, got to the bumper, and I think realized, and tried to get away from Blaney, and then got down too low, and when he tried to come back, the car just broke on him, broke loose on him, and so that I don't think that was so much a factor of the push as it was just a miscalculation on Bubba's part. Sad that happened, too, because it didn't hurt Blaney, but it certainly took out Bubba and several other good cars.
Can we talk about Saturday being the day of the underdog for a minute? You said you were talking about biggest surprise of the weekend, and I found there was about 5 of them for me in the Xfinity race alone.
Give us one at a time so we can talk about it.
So you already mentioned Greg Gaulding, who, by the way,
was the biggest.
He qualified 8th, and that was when I knew he had a good car.
Yep.
So to finish second didn't necessarily, I expected he'd do well, but to see Greg Gaulding in second is still a surprise. Josh Williams
I was gonna say
in Mario Gosselin's car in 8th. Best career finish. Landon Castle, 22nd to 9th for Johnny Davis.
I expected Landon to be
we do, but we always talk about them being a great underdog story. Chris Cockrum in the Rick Ware 17 car, first ever top 10 finish. Garrett Smithley, number nothing, 33 to 12th in the second Johnny Davis car. I loved this finish. I loved the players. Yeah, the defending champion won, but there were a ton of feel-good stories here.
Well, there were, and, you focus on this and you say, okay, how awesome was this without the Cup guys in it?
Beautiful.
We had a Talladega race that
beautiful.
wasn't dominated by a Cup driver. I mean, that was one of the best Xfinity Series races that you'll probably see all year.
Yes.
And it's just living, and they had a great crowd, oh, by the way.
Oh, yes.
It's living
They did.
proof that you don't need Cup drivers in these races
To make them
exciting. You've got a crop of drivers in that series right now, the Xfinity Series, that are really aggressive and fun to watch. And when the stories we talk about are the ones you just mentioned, the Gauldings, the Siegs, the Williams. We've interviewed both both of the Bassett brothers who have driven for the same team.
Yep.
Alex Lebay had a nice.
He had a nice run going until he got wadded up in that last
but
crash.
that's what I'm saying. But he too would have probably been inside the top 10 the way he was going.
Yep.
I mean, when we're talking about those guys, that's the Xfinity Series.
Yes.
And so.
And when's the last time you got to say with 7 laps to go at Talladega, and here comes Earnhardt?
Yeah.
Jeffrey, if not for his
crash,
Jeffrey in both races, really, if not for his late crashes, Jeffrey would have been right in the mix in both the Cup race and the Xfinity race.
Jeffrey actually should have contended for the win in the Xfinity race, and
he got collected in the big one.
And again, can you imagine how
they would have burned that place to the ground?
That's the thing. It's like, how much of an eruption would that have been to see an Earnhardt in victory lane at Talladega? And still you had some fans after the race. Well, it was a super speedway race. So that's why those guys. It's like, go away. That's the whole point of it. It's a different style of racing. You got to be smart. You got to time your moves well. I mean, it is to a degree. It's about partners, but it's also about taking care of your equipment and not making stupid moves on lap 20. And I thought really that for the most part, both races were free of that. I mean, we haven't talked about Kyle Larson's flip. And we've got a few minutes left in this segment, and I want to spend some time on that. I have to be honest. I've seen a lot of violent crashes in my lifetime. I hadn't seen a crash, a flip anyway, anywhere near this violent since maybe Austin Dillon's
at Daytona.
At Daytona,
2015.
What year was that? 15?
15 July race.
And then before that, I think you'd have to go back a fair ways to see one that was just that violent, not in the fact that a car rolled a number of times, but just the way that car rolled. That was enough to stop my heartbeat for a minute or two until I realized he was out of the car.
Yeah, it did a lot of people, and I want to pick that up on the other side of this break. We're going to step aside. More of the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport when we come back.
Everywhere you go, you hear it, and you see it. It's coming at you through your phone, your tablet, and your computer. It's broadcast from your favorite radio station, TV networks, and cable companies. It's in the stadiums, the arenas, the ballparks. It screams for your attention at the mall. It's interactive on Main Street. It's even coming at you from the gas pump at the nearby convenience store. What is it? It's digital content. It's digital content. It's digital content. Somebody has to create it. Somebody has to manage it. So whether your dream is to write it, design it, create it, call it, produce it, voice it, host it, light it, shoot it, switch it, record it, color correct it, edit it, code it, repurpose it, tweet it, blog it, post it, compress it, upload it, replay it, or make sure it gets to where it's got to go when it's got to get there in the format it's got to be in, you need to attend Carolina School of Broadcasting. The skills you will learn, the experience you will get, and the connections you will make at Carolina School of Broadcasting will open the doors to the career you want in digital content creation and digital content management. Call or come by today. Click csbradiotv.edu.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette, it's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit coopercorvettes.com.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety.
HMS serves the majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schuberth helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on only one thing, making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the HMS staff is always ready to take the time to help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
Everyone knows Strutmasters is the suspension experts for luxury vehicles, and now we offer motorcycle products. Introducing Easy Rider, complete motorcycle air suspension, brought to you by Strutmasters.com. You can raise and lower your bike with the flip of a switch. Take those long rides with the ultimate comfort of Easy Rider air shocks. They're backed by Strutmasters, and you won't believe the low price. Check out Easy Rider motorcycle air suspension at Strutmasters.com.
Hey, this is Garrett Smithley, driver of the number nothing Chevrolet for JD Motorsports, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
We were just talking about him.
We were, actually. We were
Funny how that works out.
we were riffing on Kyle Larson and his nasty flip, and Chris reminded us during the break that Larson had one previous to this one at Daytona in the Xfinity race, and I had completely forgotten about that one. But that was nasty. Thank God for safety equipment and advances in that area, because that certainly was not fun to watch at all, and I was glad to see him get out of the car.
Yeah. We all were, quite frankly. That, as we were talking about during the last segment, the violence of Larson's flip.
Yeah.
I think he went over about 7 times
Yeah,
down the back straight. It kind of reminded me of Elliott Sadler's flip down the back stretch in 2003 at Talladega.
Well, yeah, and Blake Harris talking about how it reminded him of Rudd at Daytona with the blowover, and that really actually is not also not a bad comparison either.
No, it's not.
It's a good comparison. There have been a series of those on the super speedways, obviously, over the years. That I still think the record is Maynard Troyer back in the day at Daytona, early 70s. I think it was 31, something like that.
Yeah. 2000 Ricky Rudd at Daytona, I think that was.
Yeah. So
Shootout.
it definitely was a violent wreck, but I thought Talladega overall, I'd have to give it. I mean, if you're going to grade Talladega, it's got to be A, because I don't think there's ever an A plus.
No.
But, you give it a solid A, because that whole weekend was great.
The only thing that would have made it A plus is if they somehow managed to do 2 or 3 wide right to the line on the last lap after all the racing that we saw during the day.
Yeah,
that to me would be the plus. But overall, it was great. It was like I said, I was edge of my seat the entire day, Saturday and Sunday. We're getting ready to talk to the ARCA winner in a few minutes here, and that race left a lot to be desired, but I believe that had a lot to do with a lack of quality cars for the field. I mean, it was a short field at Talladega, and that makes it difficult to establish a draft.
Yeah.
But Todd needed that. Let's all be real here. Todd needed that.
Surprising that it was such a short field too.
Oh yeah, especially after 36 cars at Daytona.
Yeah, I think it's telling as well. But yeah, Todd definitely needed that, and to see him be up on the wheel and get that win, what a confidence boost, because
Absolutely.
he's just. I mean, and it's not his fault, I don't think, but
no,
he's had a disastrous season in the truck.
It's not been his fault either. You know, when he's had decent runs, it's just been kind of flat, and when he's had bad luck, it's been really bad luck.
Last year, it seems like he did everything but win, and this year he hadn't even been close.
Yeah,
and that's what's really, it's hard to watch, because that the talent's there. There's no question that he has the talent to be in the Truck Series.
Absolutely.
And to be in the, to move up through the ranks. But you know what? Sometimes some drivers just take longer than others to sort of connect. And
I mean, keep in mind, last year he made 19 starts. He only had four top fives and 9 top 10s in 19 races, and his average finish is almost flat this year compared to what it was last year. I think you're right. I think there's still, he's still doing some maturing in the truck. Of course, he's in a high-pressure situation at KBM where you're expected to win and win quickly.
Let's face it, the truck series this year is more competitive, deeper than it's been in a long time.
Absolutely.
If you're off by a little, you're 10th.
Yeah.
And you can look through the field, and Todd is not the only one that, has had bad races in the truck series.
Right.
I mean, it's a tough situation, but the ARCA race, I felt like it was lacking, and it just wasn't, it wasn't what you usually expect from the ARCA Menards Series on a super speedway at all. It was really just kind of a mundane ho-hum kind of race.
It was. There weren't enough cars to be able to generate energy and make runs in the draft. Mason Mitchell said it perfectly on Twitter. There was no energy for the last 15 laps, and that when there's no energy, nobody can do anything.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't know, I don't know what the fix is for that.
They're trying to get the cost down.
Well,
desperately.
it's hard to, I don't know what you do to do that, because super speedway racing is what it is, and they've already got, I call it a spec motor, and
the Elmore,
Elmore, and you've got a tire that isn't overly expensive. I mean, excuse me, I don't think honestly you could make the cost a whole lot less, expensive and still have quality. I think the problem overall is that I think the series in general costs too much, and unfortunately I'm not seeing the fix for that. I don't think, from what I'm hearing of what the plan is for 2020, I'm not seeing where that's really going to change too much. So
not sure about that.
It just is what it is. But at any rate, I think, Jacob, that we could safely say that Todd Gilliland now has the shot that he needed to hopefully go into Dover, get back in the truck, and go right up front and contend for a win.
Yes, the good news here is we're going into Dover, and the winner of the last 4 Truck Series races is not entered. No Kyle Busch this weekend. Brandon Jones will be in the 51 truck, and that is a very, very good thing for everybody else involved, because it means we might actually have a shot at getting a series winner. I mean, I know Brandon's been close to a couple of victories in his own right. I'm not, but I've not seen anything out of Brandon that particularly impresses me yet this year either. That's a debate we can have at another time. But coming up in just a minute, we're going to hear from our ARCA Menards Series winner.
We'll talk with Todd right around the turn. You're listening to the Stock Car Show, presented by our good friends at HMS Motorsport, the leaders of motorsport safety. You can find them on the web at hmsmotorsport.com.
Media sales professionals with agency experience. If you're frustrated with your current position, unrealistic quotas, and inept management, if you're a sales machine and you simply will not take no as an acceptable reply, if you're looking for a rapidly growing company with unlimited sales potential for commissions in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, if you're searching for a high-tech, forward-looking, laid-back, but extremely professional organization who appreciate your skills and dedication, we have your next opportunity. Scorpion Radio Group is building a sales team of self-starters who are motivated. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444 or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. That's 717-749-0444 and ask for Sue.
How to deal with someone who says that's so gay. Outsmart them.
This party is like so gay. Totally.
Excuse me, but did you ladies know the word gay used to mean happy or excited? Then it became a word used to describe gay people. Then somehow it came to mean dumb or stupid, which is how you just used it, which is not very nice.
Ew, that guy is on the football team and super smart, and he totally hates us now. Totally.
When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off. Learn more at thinkbeforeyouspeak.com.
Is your job sucking the life out of you? Wake up. You can do something else. Information technology. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a math or science person. No excuses, no problem.
It's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career. Helping people start an IT career is their thing. If you don't absolutely love what you do, go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You can start your new life as an information technology professional in as little as 4 months. Attend classes on campus or live online just 2 or 3 times a week to get what you'll need to start your new career. More than just a school, My Computer Career helps you get into the industry by working with hundreds of employers that hire their students. My Computer Career is nationally accredited and financial aid is available for those who qualify, including the GI Bill. Classes start soon, so go take the career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Mycomputercareer.edu. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
Hi, I'm Reed Sorensen. Racing has been a part of me and my family for as long as I can remember. I had to make tough choices early on to get to the top. It took hard work and dedication, but it's those tough choices that help me prepare for challenges I would face as a cup driver. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Hi, I'm Tyler Reddick, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Wrong winner, Randy.
I don't have his, sir, or else I would play it.
Yeah, well,
it's in there somewhere.
We'll make sure you find it. At any rate, let's get our most recent ARCA Menards
Easy for you
Series
to say.
winner, out of the pit area and let them go full throttle with us as we come back to the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsports safety. We welcome Todd Gilliland back to the program.
Yeah, we're glad he's back too.
Yeah, been too long actually. Always a pleasure to have Todd on, and congratulations, buddy. That was an impressive performance the other night, and it had to be just a little bit of redemption and a bit of a confidence boost to be able to go out and do that.
Yes, for sure. My confidence has definitely been beat down over the last year when we haven't won. And in the media center, they said it's been a year and 12 days since Bristol last year when we won the K&N race. So a lot of fun to be back.
That was me that reminded you of that, by the way. So I'll take full credit for that one. What was this race like? I mean, obviously we talk, we watched at Daytona. I think that had the air of a little bit more of a crazy race, and you and Harrison kind of went at it in the draft there at the end. But you were really able to take control of this race about at the midpoint, right after that round of pit stops on Friday. I mean, how was the feel for you at Talladega different than maybe what it was at Daytona?
Yeah, we had the same exact Frontline Enterprises Toyota Camry that we had at Daytona that we did at Talladega, and I think that really shows why we were all so frustrated with finishing second. That thing was incredibly fast and just a lot of fun to drive in the draft. It's when you're relying on other people, it's really hard and you can get yourself in trouble, but I feel like a lot of people wanted to work with us that day. So that's what it's all about, is bringing a fast car from the shop and then executing in the draft, and like you said, on pit road, getting us out in the lead. So all that stuff was really important.
Can you explain to our audience from the driving perspective what it's like to run on a super speedway like that in the draft? Because it looks to us like those cars, trucks, whatever it is, they're just constantly jumping around and moving around, and yet you guys make it look so easy, but it seems like it just would be a real handful for an hour or 3.
Yes, in practice, you'd roll out there by yourself and you'd think it's going to be super easy, but the second that green flag drops and you're 40 cars deep in the pack, it's definitely a handful. It's kind of the same thing you see on the mile-and-a-half truck races. It's if you get behind someone, you get really tight because you don't have any air in your truck, and that's the hard part about being in a super speedway, is you want to be where there's no air because that's the biggest draft, but also where your truck or car handles the worst. So, when you put it like that, it definitely makes people realize a little bit more that there's also some give and take in the situation you put yourself in.
I feel like there was a lot of give and take in that ARCA race that you won on Friday, particularly in the run before you took the lead, because things changed for you so quickly. We referenced before we brought you on that it was a bit of a shorter field than what we had at Daytona, and it just seemed like it was tougher to make runs and to get any energy going in the draft. I mean, what was that experience like for you before you got to the lead? I know obviously once you're out front, it was a lot easier to defend when there weren't the runs coming from behind you, but how tough was it when you were back there, fourth or fifth in line and maybe trying to get a run going?
Yeah, I tried, 90% of the race at the beginning part to just pick them off one at a time, and I had so much trouble with that. Even at the back of a 8-car pack and single file on the bottom, I'd get huge runs and side draft them as hard as I could, and I could still never quite clear them. So, after I was doing that for so long, and I'd make a little bit of progress and then get hung outside on one car and go all the way back to the, 8th place at the back of that pack was definitely hard for me. But like I said, once I got up to the lead, I knew what it was going to take to be able to pass me. So that made me feel a little bit better, and the moves that I was going to have to be able to see them do to maybe get that energy built up.
Was there any point during that final lap that you thought to yourself maybe the run was coming, or were you pretty confident for most of that last lap that they weren't going to be able to get to you?
When I crossed the start-finish line to get the white flag, I was really confident because Riley was a few car lengths off me, and behind him they were too wide with, quite a ways back. And then it's crazy how fast that stuff happens. Me and Riley were out by ourselves, and then they got back formed up behind us, and they pulled right back up to our bumpers, and Riley actually ended up getting a little bit of a run coming through the tri-oval. So, it's something that I was definitely watching. My spotter, Eddie DeHunt, did a really, really good job all race, about teaching me, and if I made a good move, he'd tell me. If I didn't made a bad move, he'd tell me. So that's what it's all about, and, it came down to the end, he had my back.
Eddie is one of the best spotters ever, in my opinion, and I think this was your first time working with him, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
What was that like for you? Because like you said, he is, to me, a professor, and he's so good at teaching younger drivers and just keeping them calm. What was it like for you to have him up on the box?
It was a lot of fun. In practice, his accent is really heavy. That's the first thing you'll notice about him. But at the same time, you can't tell if he's about to fall asleep or just really relaxed. So that's always a good thing also. He's just so calm on the radio. It's really cool. The whole last lap, even when they were trying to mount a run on us, it was, all you could hear felt like he was out on the beach. So that's always a really good thing to have in your ear, is someone who doesn't get excited and at the same time keeps you in the game but not making silly mistakes.
It was a really big weekend, actually, for Eddie on the whole. He won the ARCA race on Friday with Todd, and then went out and won a Cup Series race on Sunday with Chase Elliott. So a great weekend. I know, as you referenced, Tom, it was your first time working with him. When you guys were starting to work together and get a feel for each other in practice, what was the biggest thing that you noticed, maybe compared to spotters that you worked with in the past, as far as working with Eddie? Was there something that stuck out when you guys started to get that cadence together?
I just feel like you can tell right away when you roll out in a pack in practice that, you really have a clear picture of what's around you. And when I had Chris Lambert as my spotter last year, he was amazing at super speedways also. And,
yeah, he is.
I learned a lot with him too. So it reminded me a lot of similar styles between those two, of listening and really having a really good idea of what was going on around me and things I could do from even 3 car lengths back to 3 car lengths in front of me. So that's what it's all about, is just knowing your surroundings, even if there's nothing you can do about it, that either you're in trouble or you're in a good position.
If you're just joining us here on the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport, we are on the strutmasters.com hotline talking with ARCA Menards Series winner from Talladega Superspeedway, Todd Gilliland. And shot in the arm indeed. I know a lot of people were talking about it, Todd, after the race.
Hi, I'm Todd Gilliland, driving the number 16 Napa Auto Parts.
Whoa. Okay, Randy's punching buttons.
Todd's throwing his voice. That's amazing.
All right. So anyway, Todd, you were talking about it on Friday after the race. A lot of people were about this being a shot in the arm for you, about this basically finally being a step in the right direction and getting back to victory lane. I know the party was pretty special, but how big a relief was it, for those who weren't there on Friday to hear you after the race, to get this win, to get back, to have the celebration, and to know, hey, we still can do this as a team?
Yes. For a while there, I don't want to say winning was almost easy, but it almost was. In K&N, we just would go out there every week, and I knew we'd have a shot at the win. If not, we'd finish second or third, and we'd be right there every single week. And, after the last year, being able to move up to trucks, it was obviously an amazing challenge that I was ready for, and it's only going to get harder from here. But, it definitely is a lot different pace, and it's all things that you take for granted, but also at the same time you really enjoy the challenge. So it's just about adapting at the right times, and but definitely getting back in victory lane and just knowing what it takes to win. Because after a while, I feel like you almost forget, and you can always know that you can do it in your heart, but once everyone else sees that you can do it, and even who you're racing against is always a good thing.
Your dad was in the media center with you after the race on Friday as well, and I know, he was a very strong super speedway racer in his own right, and had some qualifying success and some strong runs. Particularly notable, probably the one at Talladega a few years back with David Reagan, where he ran second. What kind of advice was he able to give you for these two races this year at Daytona and Talladega that you leaned on through the weekend?
A lot of people say, to stay right on the bottom, and I was expecting him to say that too, just to his son, being smart, but he actually told me just, pay attention to what's actually going on at the beginning of the race. If you're stuck on the bottom, then, see what the outside lane is really taking to get to the front, and, it's really not much different from the outside. The outside's almost safer. So, just about putting yourself in the right position, but making sure it's the right position before you do it. Being patient at the same time, and obviously making it to the end. That's what everyone says. You got to make it to the end to win the race, and it's a lot easier said than done. So just staying out of trouble.
Patience was the buzzword, across the board. I know you referenced that he's taught you to be patient, not just in super speedway racing, but really you've had to be patient this whole last year, haven't you? With just enduring the changeover to the trucks and the bad luck in the trucks, and really even the bad luck since that K&N win at Bristol a year ago, just to get back to this point. It's been an exercise in patience, it feels like.
For sure. There's so many races last year that we're on the same straightaway of winning, and that goes for K&N, ARCA, and trucks. So I feel like there's a lot of races we could have won and maybe even should have, but we didn't. So in those times, you just got to stay strong, and for whatever reason, you just got to look at the things that you did. It really made me pay attention to more of the things I was doing as a driver that put us in the good positions as well as the bad positions, because that's all I can control. So
right.
Being patient with the people I'm surrounded with, and at the same time trying to make everyone better.
How do you feel like, to kind of shift gears from the ARCA side to the truck side for a couple minutes, how do you feel like you guys are sitting on the truck side right now with your number 4 team, getting ready to get back at it finally this weekend at Dover? And it seems like at least the last 2 or 3 races, you guys have started to build some momentum with a couple of top 10s at least, and maybe starting to find where things were clicking like they were at the end of last year.
Yeah, that's what we've been sitting down talking about, saying is just, at some point there's just different steps, and right now we'd be happy to just get back to the top 5 and, run consistently there like we were in the middle part of last year. So, and once you get there, you can start looking for what it's going to take to get that last extra bit to start winning consistent races, and at least leading a lot of laps like we were. So, there's different steps to be taken, but right now it's just about finishing races. I've made a lot of bad mistakes and taking us out of contention to win some, and even some good finishes. So I think just putting together entire races, and then from there you can dissect why one part or another wasn't exactly right, but finishing them off.
You finished them off Friday. You're hoping to finish them off again this Friday. What's got you optimistic? What do you like about going to Dover and racing there?
One thing is that we ran really well there last year. I think we qualified third, and we were running top 3 all day, and then we had an alternator problem, and our battery started to die, and then we only got it changed with about 25 laps to go, and we were a lap down, and we got the lucky dog, and we ended up finishing 10th, I think, that day. So the results don't show it, but I feel like we're going to have speed when we go back there. A lot has changed since then, obviously, but at the same time, we know what we had and where we are now. So hopefully we're a little bit better than then, and we can contend for a win. And but Dover's really fast, takes your breath away, and maybe it's just I'm not smart enough or what, but that place is a lot of fun.
Is this an opportunity race, considering the boss isn't in it for the first time in 4 races?
Yeah, obviously we've learned a lot with him racing these trucks. He knows everything about him. I feel like he could basically crew chief anything he's in at any time. So that's really cool to just listen to him break down his vehicle that he's racing. And I think everyone at Cali Motorsports really obviously takes advantage of that, and hopefully we can carry it on the rest of the season. But I feel like every race is an opportunity race. I feel like we can unload and have a shot to win any week, but it's about the weekends that we don't have a shot to make the most of it.
You mentioned Frontline earlier on your ARCA car. I know there's a long list of partners both on the ARCA side for you this year and the Gander Outdoors Truck Series side. Here's a minute before we let you go to say thanks to the partners that helped get you to the racetrack, Todd.
Yep, got to thank obviously Frontline Enterprises, Toyota on the ARCA side, and then JBL, Mobile One, and everyone at KBM for all the support over the last year, and finishing out this year strong. Hopefully make it to the playoffs and make a championship run out of it.
You're in the playoffs right now, sitting 8th.
True. Hopefully we get a little bit better. We're locked in with a win by then.
Absolutely.
I was going to say, I think what he really wants is to win.
He wants to win in.
And we are certainly hoping for that as well for you, Todd. We appreciate you taking some time to chat with us this evening, and we look forward to hopefully having you back in and amongst us very soon to have some fun on a future show. Good luck in the Truck Series race at Dover, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me on.
That's Todd Gilliland, and as we step aside to break, we will transition. When we come back, we'll have a couple of more faces in the studio with us. We've got Matt Davey and Luke Akers getting set to join us. We're going to talk some Allison Legacy Series racing. For those of you not familiar with that, the name Allison, yes, it is from that family. We'll tell you all about it when we come back. More of the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety, when we return.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Lewis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Noah Gregson, and you're listening to Motorsports Madness on PMN, the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back as we start our second hour of the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsports safety.
That first hour went in a hurry.
It did. It really did. My name is Tom Baker. I am joined by Jacob Seelman from Speed Sport.
Hi.
We've got Randy Miller and Chris Murdoch over there behind the glass, and we got a couple of dads in the studio hanging out, watching their sons appear on the program, both in video form and audio form. To my left is Matthew Davey, and to Jacob's right over there is Luke Akers, and both racers came out of the Bandolero division here in the Carolinas area and are now racing in what's called the Allison Legacy Series. And if you're listening to or watching this and wondering, well, is that the Racing Allisons that we know so well?
Bobby and Donnie.
Bobby and Donnie, well, yes, it actually is the Allison family who started that series. And it was started as a way, obviously, for, younger racers to be able to get some experience in a smaller version of a full-size stock car. The legacy cars are essentially the same in terms of suspension and such, though obviously not quite as technologically advanced as today's Cup cars, but very similar, and obviously they look very similar. I think what is it? 3/4? I think it's three-quarter scale.
It's a three-quarter
scale.
NASCAR
Yeah.
Cup Series car.
Yeah. So we'll start with Matthew. You've been racing now in that series for a couple of years?
Yeah, this will be my third year in the series.
Third year. Okay, so you're actually in your third year of the series. You've already got a win this year.
Yes, sir.
Second win of your
second win in the
career.
Allison Legacy
Yeah,
career,
second win in that series. And you are from where?
Mooresville, North Carolina.
But originally from?
Lake Havasu City, Arizona.
Yeah, okay. So you are you are actually among the drivers who made the transition over here in order to pursue your racing career. And you're now up in the Legacy Series. And that series, incidentally, if you want sort of some comparisons or some past history of drivers who've come out of that series.
I was going to say, I've got the list here. You want to look
Go
at,
ahead. Yeah, if you got the list, you
absolutely.
can read some of them off.
So if you want to look down the list of champions and think, are there drivers who have used this to eventually get to the top level of the sport? Oh, yes. Regan Smith won the title in '99, went on to a Cup Series win, and now is actually with the NASCAR On Box broadcast team. Chad McCumbee spent some time in NASCAR, won back-to-back titles in 01 and 02.
Yep.
2011 Daytona 500 champion Trevor Bayne won the title in 05. Both of the Racing Hill brothers, Timmy and Tyler, won titles. Timmy did it in 09. Brother Tyler did it in 2011. They've both spent time in the top 3 series, and actually Timmy just recently started a Gander Outdoors Truck Series team that his brother is going to drive for this weekend at Dover. That's exciting. And then probably the most notable recent name to come out of the Allison Legacy Series did it by winning, I think 15 of 17 races, some crazy number
Something
like that in 2012. John Hunter Nemechek just destroyed him the year he won the championship, I think as a 12-year-old at that point. Devin O'Connell, another one who won a championship. He did it in 2014 and is running Pass North this year.
And the interesting thing for me with that list, and, you guys obviously know of most of those names. I mean, when you look at John Hunter, I can remember I was doing a lot of the old Cars Tour races when it was still the offshoot of Hooters Pro Cup before they went to the late model format.
Right.
In, I think, 2012 or 13, I think it was actually. And I interviewed John Hunter a number of times in Victory Lane, and of course he was just a little guy then, and you look at him now.
He's a slightly less little guy.
Oh no, he's taller.
As tall as me, which is not tall,
but it's so much fun to see the progression. So when I look at the two of you, and Luke, this is your first year in the series, yes?
Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask him right off, what's been your experience as far as adjusting to how the Legacy car drives compared to the Bandolero? I know we've heard his answer to this before. I want to see how yours compares to it.
Oh, it's completely different. I mean, the car rolls more. You have more of a car feel. And, Bandolero is more momentum based, whereas this, you can get away with certain different lines and how the car feels is tight and loose.
Did he nail it, Matt?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
about what I said,
it's a very realistic feel, I think, for moving on to the higher, heavier stock cars, even still. And you guys run on some interesting tracks. I mean, you got Hickory. You just came off of a run at Dillon. The tracks that these cars run on vary from really tight little bull ring kind of tracks to some of the larger short tracks in the area. I'll start with Luke on this one. Favorite track that you enjoy the most?
Man, I don't know. I think as of now, Tri-County has got to be.
I knew somebody was going to say that. Do you agree or disagree?
I think I know where he's going with this.
My favorite would still be Myrtle Beach Speedway.
Myrtle Beach.
That's not where I thought you were going with that. I figured you'd say Orange County.
What's interesting to me about
favorite.
that is to me, Myrtle Beach feels like it's too big for the series. It feels like you guys kind of just hit the gas and really, do you lift there? I mean,
they're slightly lift going into turn 3, but other than that, you're fourth all the way around.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't hit fifth gear. You're still running fourth gear, but I mean, it's a big track run, 20-lap race. But I mean, I love it. You're out there on the beach, so we like to go. Me and my family, we plan ahead to go a few days early, so we spend time at the beach. And by the time race day hits, we prepare and just go out there and race Myrtle Beach Speedway.
What a great idea!
Yeah,
go a few days early and spend time at the beach. Okay, so Myrtle Beach for you. What do you think so far about the Legacy car? Are you excited now that you've run a couple races in it? I mean, the transition out of the Bandolero. I mean, it doesn't feel like it would be a huge change, but it feels like it certainly would be a significant change in terms of even just the spatial judgment on some of these bigger tracks.
Yes, sir. I mean, I'm real excited about this season. We just come off of a second place, and, we're trying our hardest to do what we can, and, we have a promising future in the series.
Most people go to the Legends cars out of the Bandoleros.
Yeah.
And you guys both went to the Legacy Series. I'll give both of you a chance to answer this. You first. Why?
Well, some of it's affordability.
Okay.
And just the handling, it is more of a car, even though the downside is it's not as powerful as the Legends car. But it helps more of an experience-wise, being able, seeing where your car is in a full body to somebody else.
Matthew?
There's more opportunity. I've been in the band for 8 years, and I felt like if I was going to stay in the Legend, I felt like I wasn't going anywhere. And I tested the Legend about 3 years ago in December, and they got a lot of horsepower. And I do like the Legend. I would love to somewhat race it this year in the summer shootout. Well, we'll see what we can do, but I just feel like there's better opportunity in this Legacy Series. I mean, it's a great program to start learning because it's the lower level of real NASCAR stock car racing, and that's where you learn all the ins and outs of it. You learn how to talk on the radio with the spotter. Within the band, though, you don't have a radio. You just have the race receiver and you listen to the race director. So I think by moving into the Legacy program from the band, though, it's just a greater opportunity for all the racers that are in it.
It's a lot of different skill sets, isn't it, that you get to apply and really understand. And I know the races aren't necessarily long distance races, but it's a longer distance race than what either of you have had in the Bandoleros. So it does give you an opportunity to experience what that car feels like with fall off and everything else over the course of a longer run.
Yeah, with coming from the Bando to the Legacy, I mean, like Luke said, I mean, momentum is what counts because you race the Bando. I mean, it's just all momentum. There's no front suspension. You just have rear suspension, and I think for myself, the Bando was actually a lot harder to drive than the Legend because the Legend have front suspension in there, using muscle strength to turn the Bando at least 60, 80 miles an hour, especially at Sharp Motor Speedway with the tight turns. As you transition to a Legacy car where it's a full-size quarter-scale car, and there's you got to drive these cars, and there's more physical and mental strength going into the series, and there's just a lot more opportunities.
You guys are both athletes too, so that makes a difference. You were, still are, I guess. No, you actually finished now wrestling.
Yeah, I finished wrestling my junior year of high school. I'm in the home stretch of senior year.
Yeah, and so you were wrestling. You're a football player, right?
Yes,
so,
sir. Football and basketball.
That obviously keeps you in shape for running these cars. I'm sure wrestling, especially the stamina of that's kind of, and so. With the Legacy car and the tracks that you run, what are some of the tracks maybe that you would like? Is there a track that the Legacy Series doesn't run that you would like to run with that series?
The one track that I haven't ran in a while was actually Tri-County was one of them because the last time they raced there was back in 2012. And another one would be Florence is one that I would really curious like to run, but I haven't heard much of what the Allisons are going to do, schedule-wise.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll add some more races like this year. I'm hoping they'll add Concord. We had a race earlier this year. Orange County was canceled on the 13th because of the weather. So hopefully they'll either reschedule that for Orange County or hopefully add a few more races, like Concord or Florence, just mainly schedule-wise.
Yeah, Mother Nature has not been a race fan this year.
Yeah.
Frankie Lyons in our chat. The 11 is coming for y'all. we know who that is. Yeah, we know who that is. Thank you for checking the show out, Frankie. We hope you'll stay with us and come back often.
Yeah, we got more to come here. Randy's about to throw something at us.
Yeah, we need to take a break. That's where I was trying to go.
Yeah.
So let's do that. We'll come back.
Keep you on track.
Yeah,
I
we appreciate that. With more of Matt and Luke and more of the Stock Car Show when we return. Stay with us.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
For the people in our military, it's a time of sacrifice and duty. That's why all 4 military aid societies have joined together to form the Armed Forces Relief Trust to help military families cope with financial and medical emergencies at home. With so many serving overseas, the need is greater than ever. You can learn more and donate at www.afrtrust.org. A message from the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Is your job sucking the life out of you? Wake up. You can do something else. Information technology. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a math and science person. No problem and no excuses. Because it's not rocket science, it's My Computer Career. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You can start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. mycomputercareer.edu, that's mycomputercareer.edu.
COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, is a lung disease that robs people of their ability to breathe. As many as 24 million Americans suffer from COPD, also known as chronic bronchitis or emphysema, and half of them don't know they have the disease. If you or someone you love is over 35 and has smoked more than 100 cigarettes in their lifetime, visit driveforcopd.org and take the screener, then take that to your doctor. I'm Jeff Stoltz, and I drive for COPD.
Hi, I'm Cole Custer, and you're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Cole Custer doing what did you I want you need to tell this story, Jacob, because there's kind of a running joke
goodness.
that everybody makes the play on the name to be Cold Custard.
Yes, including me.
Yeah, and so finally Cole decided to have a little fun with that, apparently.
It's not just having a little bit fun. A little bit of fun, I should say.
Easy for you to
say. Yeah, it is a legitimate thing. He released this on Twitter on April 19th. It is Cole Custer's Cold Custard review.
Oh, so he's actually going to different...
He's going to a cold custard shop and reviewing the custard.
Well, I'm going to tell you where he needs to go. And we talked about it on our show a few weeks ago.
Yes, we did. You learned what I've known for a while.
After Chris and I got back from the Cars Tour race that we went to up at Orange County, there's a place in, I think is it Hillsborough, I want to say?
Yes.
Called Witt's Frozen Custard. I also have found out since, and Chris and I have been there. There's one in Davidson, right near us, just outside of Mooresville, and there's one down in Concord.
Yes, there is.
Witt's Frozen Custards, their chocolate milkshakes are amazing. So, Cole Custer, if you're listening to the show, go to either the Concord or the Davidson Witt's Frozen Custard. Review it. I promise you it'll be 5 stars, or I don't know what Cole's handing out for review, but if you're a fan of custards and you're anywhere near a Witt's Frozen Custard, just go. You'll thank us later, and no, we're not being paid for that. That was an unsolicited testimonial, but there's nothing I enjoy more on a nice hot day than a cold chocolate milkshake, and they are the best I've ever had. I honestly, I think they put Dairy Queen to shame. So that's my unsolicited review. But I just thought that it was funny that Cole finally did something with that, because I've always thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, it was great.
Okay, so I want to give Luke a chance to answer the same question I asked Matthew in the last segment. We're talking about the Allison Legacy Series, and I want to give Luke the same chance to answer the question of, okay, is there a track that is not on the current schedule for the Legacy Series that you would like to see them run at?
To surprise, Bowman Gray.
Bowman Gray.
You know, I say just throw on some bodies and go at it.
Matthew's smiling over here. Yeah, throw on some bodies and go at it.
Both of y'all ran Bowman Gray in the Bando, didn't you?
I did.
Actually, no, I didn't. We were gonna run it in 2014,
And it
but
rained?
It rained out, and then we were gonna run it in
It's not the first time.
And then I was gonna run it in 2015 and 16, but my dad wanted me to save the car for the Bandolero Nationals. both those
That's
years.
Probably a wise decision, Dad. Last time I went there was probably, I want to say it was either 12 or 13, and it was the year that the Legends cars, what class? It must have been the Young Lions. It was already. I mean, it was sprinkling, and you just knew. You looked at the sky and went, "It's going to downpour." They actually put the cars on the track. I'm not sure why they did. They threw the green, and it downpoured, and they went into turn one. And much like the All-Star race, they all wrecked.
Hang on.
That's
You got to do it
basically
into Kenny Wallace. They went into turn one, and all the cars wrecked.
Yeah, that's basically what happened. So good decision, probably not to. But that would be an interesting. How would the Legacies handle on a flat track like that? I mean, you run some fairly flat tracks now, but I mean, I would think that would be an interesting. You'd have to really loosen those cars up a lot. I would
with
think.
the speeds these cars go, I'd probably just run maybe second and third. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't think we could hit fourth gear at all.
It's
might as well just drift it around.
Would be an interesting. I think that would be an interesting thing to do to see them go to.
Especially with the setup, I guess, is how fast you want to go.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that would be fun. Okay, so I want to give the fans who are listening to and watching the show a chance to get to know you guys better. So I thought we would do a little bit of favorite things and see where this goes.
These are a few of my favorite things.
Very nice, Jacob. Thank you for that little segue. And, okay, so I'll start with Matthew. Favorite toppings on the pizza?
Pepperoni.
That's it?
Simple.
Pepperoni.
Just pepperoni.
Good boy.
Pepperoni.
Luke?
Pepperoni and mushroom.
Oh, he went up there with
Equally
mushroom.
good boy.
Are you a mushroom fan or no?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Depends on the day.
I'm not.
Yeah.
No mushrooms for
Oh,
me. I do like the
sausage.
pepperoni. Sausage. There we
Pepperoni
go.
sausage.
See, I'm a meat toppings guy.
Yeah.
Anything, and you can. I'm the meat lovers kind of guy. That's why I look like I do. Okay. Favorite flavor of ice cream.
Vanilla.
Chocolate.
There. I knew it was. I
knew we were
we
gonna
could get them to
debate.
disagree on something. Okay.
Jimmy Johnson.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Favorite music, real quick.
Favorite rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
About the same.
Oh, no country for either of you.
I'm from the
You
city.
listen to a lot of Christian, though.
Yeah.
Yes, you
I'm
do.
not much of a country person.
Yeah, you listen to a lot of Christian.
I was going to say, he's from Arizona. He didn't know what country was growing up.
Yeah. Lake Havasu.
How
West
City.
Coast.
I don't know. I think there's some country fans out in Arizona somewhere. I mean, I don't think that.
Not him. I know him. I know him well enough for that.
You get out toward that area and you start talking about old-fashioned country and western, which to me was the real country music. Okay. Let's see. What else can we do here? Okay. Most embarrassing moment.
Oh, no.
Luke?
Had to be in a class presentation.
Uh-oh.
And I completely lost what my thought was and had no clue what I was saying. Just speaking gibberish to the whole class.
Did you get an A?
No.
At least he's honest.
His train of thought jumped the tracks. Matthew?
Probably during one of my school plays, I forgot one of the lines, so I had to think of an improv line.
Did you get close?
I got it, but I was like, "Oh, what am I supposed to say?" Because I looked at my co-star. She's like, "Say something." I was like, "I don't know what to say."
That's when you look and go, "Okay, something."
Yeah.
What do I want to say?
And then I said, "Oh, say something." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's not the line."
And I've forgotten my line.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a situation like that?
I have. We actually, in kindergarten, we had this Thanksgiving thing, and I was one of the chiefs or whatever, and I had to say one line, completely lost it.
Lost it as in laughing or just lost the line?
Both.
Oh, okay.
So if anybody wasn't watching the top of the show tonight, one of my most embarrassing moments was, 5 minutes in.
Yeah, well, and we're not. Look, if you didn't see it, just simply wait till the show's over. Go back on the Facebook Live, Race Chaser Media Facebook Live. Go about 3-4 minutes in and just watch the build up.
Or,
you'll see it.
Or don't.
I'll tell you my most embarrassing moment, and it wasn't funny at all, except that I was laughing uproariously. I was doing I was a news director, and the news studio that I sit in directly faced the actual morning show host, the main board. So I'm looking at him the entire time, and I'm reading this news story, and for no reason whatsoever, I guess Jim decided that he wanted to really mess me up. So he took a pencil, and he just shot it, and it hit square in front of me in the window, and he had the goofiest look on his face. Now, here's the worst part. I'm in the middle of reading a news story about something bad that happened in Russia. And I completely lost it and broke up laughing, and I couldn't stop. I mean, I literally stumbled through the rest of the newscast, and the station owner was kind of like, what was going on there? I'm like, he threw a pencil. It just, I mean, it's like, what? And
what was I supposed to do?
Yeah, I yelled at him afterward. I'm like, don't do that to me anymore. Now while I'm reading the news. If you want to mess me up in the middle of my show that he produced, that's fine. Have a little fun, but not during a newscast. I mean, especially not in that situation. But that's what happens when you're live sometimes. Things just, or somebody will do something like that. We're always afraid that Randy's going to throw something at us from the production chair over there.
He has actually thrown something at me once or twice.
Yeah. So we keep very careful track of when our breaks are coming up. We have Tim Thompson in our chat says, hey, Luke, from Grant Thompson. Good luck in the future, man. So Grant says hi.
Thank you, Grant. Congrats on your wins.
Yes, Grant is on a roll in that truck series. And we actually had Grant on our Motorsports
about a month
Spanish
ago,
show a few weeks ago. He was fantastic. Just a fantastic
That was
guest.
enjoyable.
Yeah, it's fun to have you guys on and to have to see the future of motorsports. And I think both of you guys are very, very talented. Your next race out is where?
It's Hickory Motor Speedway on May 11th.
Okay, and obviously
with
for
the
you
Cars-
as well.
No, not with the Cars Tour. It's the week after the Cars Tour.
I was going to
race,
say
think.
the Cars Tour. Well, no,
they moved
Cars
it.
Tour is on May the 3rd.
Yeah, that's right. I'm so used to this coming weekend being the traditional first Cars Tour race at Hickory. It's that's thrown me off.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
we're not done with you guys, so don't leave after this is over because we're gonna go into the next segment and kind of get you guys involved, and then we gotta have you do a little something. But I don't want to forget to do this. So while we got about a minute and a half, who would you like to thank? Who helps you make it happen?
What makes it happen is CWR, Chris Woods Racing Repair, Chrissy Woods, my dad, my mom, my brother. Jeff Medaka, who's also a mechanic, but unfortunately he has to work, so he couldn't be able to come to some races. And my parents are my biggest supporters throughout my whole racing career, and I wouldn't be here today without them. My dad has sacrificed a lot for driving through all the races, and my mom has done the same. But unfortunately, she's always home working. But I know she's out there supporting me, and so is my brother. But to have my dad just be there for me through all my racing is just one of the greatest things I could have, and just my mom all through it all. I mean, it's just my family is my one thing that I care about the most, and they're my biggest supporters, and all my friends, and just the Lord for keeping me safe through all the races. And I wouldn't be here without my dad or my mom, and Chris was Racing Repair. Give me a great car.
We'll give you a chance to do the same when we come back around the turn because we got to step aside. Otherwise, Randy will hit us with a projectile. We'll be back with more of the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport right after this.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Louis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
Everyone knows Strutmasters is the suspension experts for luxury vehicles, and now we offer motorcycle products. Introducing Easy Rider, complete motorcycle air suspension, brought to you by Strutmasters.com. You can raise and lower your bike with the flip of a switch. Take those long rides with the ultimate comfort of Easy Rider Air Shocks. They're backed by Strutmasters, and you won't believe the low price. Check out Easy Rider Motorcycle Air Suspension at strutmasters.com.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What?
No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up.
See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit coopercorvettes.com.
Hi, I'm Matt Tift, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
You know, we mentioned projectiles in the last segment as we went to break, and then we had a Matt Tift re-entry. It reminded me on Sunday that Matt Tift wound up with a projectile in his front grille that was actually the fuel.
The radiator pan.
Radiator pan, I should say, not the fuel pan, from his teammate's car, Michael McDowell. Not the way that you want to, if you're Front Row Motorsports, not the way that you want to have two of your cars end up with a bad finish. But I thought all three of those cars were going to actually end up with a chance at a top 5 to top 10 finish.
They were quick.
And that's pretty that was pretty bad. That was odd. It's just not something you see all the time, but it took them quite a while to get that squared away. Welcome back to the Stock Car Show. Tom Baker, Jacob Seelman, along with Randy Miller and Chris Murdoch, and we're joined still by Matthew Davey and Luke Akers, who are both drivers in the Allison Legacy Series. And I want to give, before we go to the next part here, I want to give Luke a chance to do what I gave Matt a chance to do in the last segment, which is tell us who makes it happen for you, because it's pretty important.
First of all, I got to thank Kevin Campbell. He wanted me to say this, but he's the best crew chief out there.
If it's solicited, you can't see, you can't.
No, I did. I mean, he sets them up really fast, but I got to thank Tar Heel Arcadia Q, Yak and River Pork Skins, Tin Can Productions, Mom and Dad, and really everybody who supports me. It's been a really good journey, I'd like to say, and everybody that we meet, so I'd like to give the thanks back to them.
Okay, so where would you like your next step to be, if there could be a next step for you?
Definitely late models. Yeah, that's the goal right now. So.
Okay. All right. Matthew?
About the same, late models. And
okay.
Running the Super Pass Series.
Past Super Late Model Series? Yeah. Not too many of those races. Now it's under a different sanction, though, but they do still have a Super Late Model Series down here, besides cars. And we can talk about the Cars Series a little later, Jacob, because they've got a pretty big race coming up this coming Friday that we should mention.
2 races.
For a little bit.
One Friday, one Saturday.
Well, that's right. Yeah, that's right. It's a split weekend for them. Yep. So we'll talk Cars Tour before we end the show. But okay, so I want to talk with you guys both while you're on the show about some of the things we talk about while we're typically on the show, because you guys as young drivers obviously look up to the drivers in the divisions above you. And, NASCAR in particular Is there a driver that you look up to the most in the NASCAR? I'm just going to open it up to any of the 3 series, but particularly, I guess, the Cup Series. Is there a driver that you would like to emulate or that you look up to the most?
I look up to Martin Truex Jr. I look at him as an idol character in NASCAR, and with that small team he was on, French Roar Racing, from Martin coming over adversity and all the tough challenges he's faced to get to where he's at now. His girlfriend, with cancer, and her fighting through that is the greatest thing. And I was 3 years ago, me and my dad went to the 600, and Martin started from the pole and led 392 laps, and I was one of my greatest moments there with him, and I've always looked up to him, and him winning the championship in 2017 was the greatest thing he's ever done. He's worked so hard to get to where he's at now, and he fell short in one spot in the 2018 championship finals, but he was able to overcome that, and having him to transfer to Joe Gibbs Racing is really cool, and to get his first short track win is something that was emotional to him because he's worked hard for that, and up to him is where I want to be when I get older and hopefully pursue my career and make it to Monster one day. Martin's always been idol character of mine. I just look to him every day.
I don't know what I'm more impressed with, the fact that you circled Martin Truex Jr. or the fact that you remembered specifically that he led 392 laps in the 600.
How could anyone forget if you were there? I mean, that was as close to annihilation in the 600 as you'll ever see.
Oh,
it was.
It was annihilation.
Oh,
don't
my goodness.
Even. It was annihilation.
That was an amazing day for sure, and I hope I never see it again. No offense, Martin,
but you saw it with Kyle Busch.
Well,
he did basically the same thing.
I don't feel like it was quite as
he won all 4 stages and led 355 of 400 laps.
I guess it was the extra 40 laps that someone else led that made the difference there.
Yeah, really.
Okay, Luke, how about you? Is there a driver that you particularly look up to?
Ryan Blaney and actually Todd Gilliland. We come from the same roots, quarter midgets and bandos, and he's kind of been
I forgot
the
you ran quarters.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And we kind of it's how it was. I think I was actually at a practice when he was there, when Todd Gilliland was there. But just being able to be in the footsteps of them people is pretty cool, and the fact that they're up there already and coming from the places that I was really gives me hope and strength to get up there.
How old are you now, Luke? I feel like we kind of glossed over that earlier.
15.
Okay. I knew he was getting ready to graduate.
Yes. And you're what, 18?
19.
19.
Almost 20.
Wow, okay, 19 years old. So you talk about Ryan Blaney and Todd Gilliland in a quarter midget. For those of you who are paying attention to this right now and thinking, quarter midget, that's a small car. How does Todd fit in a quarter midget? He wasn't always that tall.
No, I can attest to that. Todd was not always 6 foot, whatever he is now.
Yeah, Mom and Dad watered him quite a bit to get him up to that height.
Even when he was 14, 15, he wasn't that tall.
No.
It's like all of a sudden we just looked up one day and you're like,
it was
when
kind
did
of
you
like
get up there?
It was like a K&N growth spurt.
Yeah.
He hit K&N and just started growing.
I think Todd took his growth spurt and Justin Haley's growth spurt all in the same vein.
Combine them together.
Yeah.
Sorry, Justin.
By the way, congratulations to Justin Haley. Not only did he make his first Cup start on his birthday,
20th birthday, yeah.
But
he did a great job.
He really did. I mean, honestly,
just missed stage points by that much.
You don't think of that Spire car as being anything, that you pay attention to contend. Justin Haley drove the wheels off that thing.
They brought a top shelf car for that race, and he went out and did something with it.
He really did a nice job. It's not easy to Talladega is not necessarily the place where I feel like you'd want to make your first Cup Series start.
Except he wanted to.
He wanted
he wanted to make his first Cup start at Talladega because he loves super speedway racing.
He had a win there in was it the truck or the ARCA? No, it was the
no. He had a win that isn't a win, but I will always swear is a win. That was the Xfinity race that they yanked from him because he passed below the yellow line.
I thought that was at Daytona.
No, it was at Daytona.
Yeah, okay. I was thinking he won an ARCA race or something at Talladega. You can look that up.
Yeah,
I was thinking Justin got a win there.
You know what?
I think it might have been in Mason Mitchell's car. I'm not sure.
Oh, Mason's going to yell at me on Twitter if I don't
feel
get
like
this
he
right.
won. I feel like he won an ARCA race there in Mason Mitchell's car.
Survey says.
Survey says. See if I'm right.
Yes. No, it was MDM. He was in the 28 car.
Okay, so it wasn't Mason Mitchell, but he did win an ARCA race.
He won for Mitchell at Springfield and Pocono.
Okay.
He won for MDM at Talladega.
See, there you go. All right. So I knew he'd won a race there. So that explains his excitement, but he really did a nice job.
He
thought.
He did. Absolutely.
I think he did a nice job. How many hours a week, Luke, do you spend actually watching film, video, or doing sim racing for the next Allison Legacy Series race?
Shoot, I got to say 3 or 4 hours on total. I mean, I come home, I do schoolwork, and then I go right to it.
I like the priority. Schoolwork first. Matthew?
I just try and get 20 hours in. With
wow.
I go to school, go to work, come home, do my homework, and then I'll stay up until at least midnight, practicing, for upcoming races. And, there's some tracks that are on iRacing that we have.
Right.
That is on our schedule, and some that aren't.
There are some that need to be on iRacing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I try and get on iRacing most of the time, but it's been hard to get on there, with all my schoolwork. Staying focused with school is more important to me.
Dear Hickory, please get scanned.
Don't even get me started on that subject. But yes, Hickory should be on iRacing. The sooner the better. Okay, we've got a couple of minutes left of this segment. Before we let you guys get out of here, you have a job to do. There's a wall back here with some signatures on it. That's our wall of fame. 1 pen for Luke, 1 pen for Matthew Davey. Now you got to sign it so we can read it, okay? Go ahead and sign the wall. And let's add Luke Akers and Matthew Davey. Matthew is going to go all the way over to the right next to Joe Valento's signature. And he's going to sign his. And Luke is all the way over to the left. And there you go.
He there.
So we add to the wall of fame. I love how Matthew put a smiley face inside the 0 in his number 10. That is so Matthew Davey. Always smiling, always positive.
Yeah, no, he always does that.
Matthew always brings the mood of the room up,
no
matter where he goes. That's right. So we want to thank both of you for coming in because I know that you guys have a busy schedule between the two of you. You live about 45 or so minutes away from us, and so it's not easy to give up an evening to come and do the show. But real quick before we go, your next race is Hickory Motor Speedway, right, both of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what does it take to get around Hickory in an Allison Legacy Series car, Matthew? Because I know you probably haven't raced there yet, right?
I practice there.
Practice there. Okay, Matthew, go ahead. You got about a minute.
With Hickory, it's a lot. It's kind of bumpy going into turn 1 and 2, but it's a great short track to learn on and very, very fast track, and I love Hickory. It's a great track for a lot of people to race on, and since it's so short, you got short time to make a turns, and mainly it's just a great track to race on. I love it.
Anything races well at Hickory. Okay, Luke, you got about 30 seconds.
Right,
What was your impression after practice?
Like Matthew said, it is bumpy, and you got to be smooth and definitely consistent.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you make one bad move, somebody's right on your tail.
Well, should be a good race, and always enjoy seeing the Legacy Series cars run when they get the chance. Thanks to Matthew Davey and Luke Akers for being on the show with us tonight, and we certainly look forward to having you guys back on again as we go through the season, and good luck to both of you the rest of the way. Either of you get a win at Hickory, we'll bring you back.
Yes, sir.
There's a little incentive, okay? That is Matthew Davey and Luke Akers, and when we come back, we are going to hit our lightning round here for tonight. So stick around, stay with us. You are listening to and watching the Stock Car Show, presented by HMS Motorsport. Right back.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves a majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schuberth helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on only one thing, making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the HMS staff is always ready to take the time to help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family-owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
Media sales professionals with agency experience. If you're frustrated with your current position, unrealistic quotas, and inept management, if you're a sales machine and you simply will not take no as an acceptable reply, if you're looking for a rapidly growing company with unlimited sales potential for commissions in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, if you're searching for a high-tech, forward-looking, laid-back, but extremely professional organization who appreciate your skills and dedication, we have your next opportunity. Scorpion Radio Group is building a sales team of self-starters who are motivated. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444 or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. That's 717-749-0444 and ask for Sue.
Here at Lewis Meineke, we're more than just your average car care center. Hey, it's Dave, your neighbor from Lewis Meineke. Whether you need an oil change, brakes, tires, or anything under the hood, we've got you covered. Take advantage of our free check engine light service as well. Yes, free. And don't forget about our free shuttle service. Never stress, we'll take care of the rest. On with life. Give us a call at Lewis Meineke, 302-827-2054.
Everyone knows Strutmasters is the suspension experts for luxury vehicles, and now we offer motorcycle products. Introducing Easy Rider Complete Motorcycle Air Suspension, brought to you by Strutmasters.com. You can raise and lower your bike with the flip of a switch. Take those long rides with the ultimate comfort of Easy Rider air shocks. They're backed by Strutmasters, and you won't believe the low price. Check out Easy Rider Motorcycle Air Suspension at Strutmasters.com.
Hi, I'm Tyler Diffel, and you're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Oh, I wish Jacob was in here right now.
Oh, yeah, we could have had a dippling contest. Welcome back to the Stock Car Show, presented by HMS Motorsport. And I want to say thanks as well to our friends at Strutmasters, the suspension experts, strutmasters.com. Please check them out. And, of course, My Computer Career as well, training for a better life. And thanks to both of them for being a part of the partnership family here at Race Chaser Media. And, of course, mycomputercareer.edu. You can just go to mycomputercareer.edu, take a free career evaluation test. You could be an IT professional in as little as 4 months, just a few days a week, either on campus, one of their 7 campuses across the country, or you can do it online as well. And IT is a great career, very rewarding, very satisfying, and there's still a couple of million jobs that are unfilled. They need more people in that field in cybersecurity and such. So look up mycomputercareer.edu if you're thinking about a change of career, or if you're in a position where you're looking for a first career. They can certainly take care of you on that point. Tom Baker and Randy Miller are going to talk for a moment, and then Jacob will slide back in when he's able to here. The beginning of our lightning round. Randy, is there anything about Talladega this past weekend that you would like to see change?
No, I actually think that NASCAR got it right this time. And what worries me is that now that it's right, they're going to change it again and it's wrong again. But I really hope that they listen to the fans and listen to, whoever and make note that this is they finally got it right. Don't tinker with it too much. I agree with the whole, maybe lowering the tapered spacer and slowing the speeds down just a little bit. And only because of Kyle's accident. I feel like had we went, that whole race without a really bad crash, we may be talking about something different. But, I mean, that luckily, and going back and looking at that wreck and seeing, what the car looked like after his 9 rolls or 10 rolls, however many it was, that car was intact. The entire car was intact except for, the tether or whatever, the axle tether. And some of the other cosmetic stuff, but the car itself, the actual cocoon that holds the driver, was completely intact, and that's something that we haven't seen. We haven't had that serious of an accident in quite some time. So it's great to see that these cars are finally being built to standards in which the driver can easily walk away, because that could have been a much, much different
Well,
situation.
it could have been. And again, the innovations and advancements in driver safety technology really came into play there. And, again, as we said at the top, I'm not necessarily thinking that the difference in speed between 195 and 204 or whatever contributed to that.
Right.
But there are people who are much more knowledgeable at that sort of thing than me. And I think you kind of got to take some cues from the drivers here. But for me, I thought it was good to see the speed, but I thought it was better to see the degree of side-by-side racing and the freedom that these guys had to be able to draft and draft by and move around without all of the, pushing and contact that we usually see and have been seeing in these super speedway races. I just thought, Randy, that was a much more racy Talladega race than what we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's always good when you watch a Talladega race and you see these under, the slightly underfunded teams, the Great Gauldings, the Matt DiBenedettos, those guys being able to run up front with the guys that are up front all the time. And something else that I noticed during this race, in the years past, you get like the outside line was the most dominant line. As long as you were on the outside, you were good. Or some years it'd be the inside line that was good. But I honestly saw even the middle, like there were guys coming up through the middle, making 3 and 4 wide passes in order to get spots, and that's something we haven't seen in years past either. So it was really good to be able to see 3 and 4 wide racing without the big one happening, the quote unquote.
So I want to speak just for a second on my thoughts of that, because it was a much racier Talladega race. It was refreshing, as Randy alludes to not only to not see one line be way more dominant than the other, but really to see drivers not log jammed, stuck in 2x2 formation for the entire day. You could pull out and make moves. You could pull out and pass people. You had people get shuffled at some points and fall back, but it wasn't the typical, slot car 2x2 or 3x3 in some cases. Pack where basically everybody was stuck in their groove and you just had to wait for one line to get 1 or 2 cars out in front to be able to move. And that, to me, was what gave this so much more of a racy, competitive feel than what we've had.
Can we all agree on one thing here before we go further in this lightning round? Can we all agree that the most spectacular move of the race didn't happen on the racetrack?
I know where you're going.
Can we all agree?
Hang on. But I want to say this because I was there. The crowd reaction when this I was standing on the photo tower, and you could hear the crowd over the engines when Brad Keselowski stuck the 10 landing backwards. Not only landed in his pit stall, but how about the crew to stay calm under pressure and do the stop with the car backwards?
That was unbelievable.
Paul Wolf didn't panic. I loved it.
For those of you who, like me, used to, I emphasize, enjoy the WWF back in the days when it was really entertaining, that was a typical Booker T spin-a-rooney is what it was. And that was so cool to see him pull that off. I mean, it's just not something that you see done so naive, nonchalantly and cleanly, as if he did it on purpose.
And we all know he didn't. Trust me.
No, I mean, but it was just unbelievable. That was really something to see. Yeah, it really did. Talladega overall, just a great race. Okay, want to talk about Cars Tour for a moment. They've got 2 races this weekend. You corrected me in the last segment. You were right. They've got 2 races. The first one is this coming Friday, May the 3rd.
The race at
Ace. The race at Ace Speedway in here in North Carolina. Yeah, Altamaha. That's right, my favorite North Carolina city name. Yeah. And then on Saturday, those are the late model stocks, and then on Saturday, the super late models are.
It's the tri-sanctioned race at Fairground Speedway.
Oh, at Nashville, yeah, because I was wanting to say Bristol, and I knew that was wrong.
It's the undercard race to the ARCA race that's running Saturday night at Nashville. I believe the Cars Tour race, the Music City 100. It's a tri-sanction between the Cars Tour, the ARCA CRA Super Series, and the Southern Super Series.
Absolutely loving the Cars Tour late models. Well, Bubba Pollard probably will no doubt win another super late model race, but I think the late model stock division of the Cars Tour has been a lot of fun to watch so far this year, and really looking forward to seeing them at Ace. That's an interesting track. It's a very small, tight track for a division like the Cars Tour, and it's always a fun show. So looking forward to seeing that. Real quickly, of course, Formula One and NHRA still going. F1.
Please, may I?
Go ahead. I'll let you.
Dear Mercedes. Yeah. Please stop making this into 1993 all over again. I'm getting bored. And that's no disrespect to Valtteri Bottas, who drove a fantastic race in Azerbaijan to win at Baku on Sunday. But the drive of the weekend for me was Charles Leclerc. Wow, easy for me to say.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yeah, Charles Leclerc. Colleen Allen is going to smack me tomorrow when I produce Heels on Wheels for screwing that up. From a crash in the 3rd round of qualifying to a top 5, Sebastian Vettel was on the podium, finally, much needed for him. Good grief. There were so many things wrong with this race that I really don't even know where to start.
No, it wasn't good. It was good in some ways, but not good in others. I mean, basically, it's just Mercedes, but that's F1 for you. It's a manufacturer series, and Mercedes is just killing them. And Pierre Gasly ought to sue Red Bull for non-support. I mean, everything that could possibly happen with that particular piece of the Red Bull team for Pierre Gasly this year has happened, except for the sludge from the old Castrol motor oil commercial hasn't fallen on him yet, but I'm sure that's coming at some point. But F1, and then of course we also had NHRA in town for the
four-wide nationals and Sean Langdon. I see, and it broke my heart that I missed this, by the way, because I was in Talladega. You were at ZMAX, but Sean Langdon joining the ranks of drivers to win in both Top Fuel and Funny Car was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I actually did ZMAX for part of the day and then came back for Talladega. But yes, to see Sean go and get that win. What's beautiful about that is, again, it proves my theory that an NHRA on any given weekend,
he's in a Don Schumacher car. I mean, it's not like I didn't expect him to be good.
Yeah, but we don't talk about him as much as we talk about others. And
that's true.
I just thought he did a superb job. That was I was really shocked at how empty the stands were.
Really?
At ZMAX, not even half.
Wow.
Not even half full.
I'm shocked.
It was a beautiful day in the 80s. A lot of people missed a golden opportunity to see some kick-ass motorsports and a lot of noise. And I don't know why. I don't know what the problem was, but I've never seen it that empty.
Can I offer the chant, by the way, for our Top Fuel winner?
Please.
Capco.
Yeah.
Capco.
Yeah, absolutely.
Capco. Steve-O's back.
Yes.
And he took over the points lead, too.
Well, and that's going to go down to the wire.
It will.
I mean,
it will unless this is Steve Torrance getting on a roll again.
Well, maybe, yeah. That it's not like we haven't seen it before.
Yeah.
But you just expect that's this year the way it's going.
Yeah.
You expect that to get out of the wire.
Did you get to the finals before you left on Sunday?
No.
So
second round.
For me, what was the coolest thing about final eliminations at 4 Wide was the Pro Stock Motorcycle final. I watched it on TV after
that's how I
after
saw it,
Talladega.
too.
Andrew Hines picking up his milestone 50th
Yep.
Pro Stock Motorcycle victory. That's a threshold that's never been hit in that category. Really cool to see. Congratulations to Andrew and the whole Vance and Hines Harley team. Great run for him.
Absolutely. I mean, just been it has definitely been an interesting scenario in NHRA all year. It continues to be, and we are getting down to the final few seconds of this one.
Yeah.
So we're I'll let you take us out.
All right. Thanks to HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsports safety, as well as our partners at mycomputercareer.edu and strutmasters.com for what they do to make this show possible. We appreciate all their support, and we appreciate our special guests tonight, Todd Gilliland, Matthew Davey, and Luke Akers, for all taking time out of their evenings to join us.
And all of those listening and watching.
Right now, for Randy Miller and Chris Murdoch, as well as Tom Baker here next to me in front of the camera, I'm Jacob Seelman. Keep it off the wall. And if you're headed to a racetrack, folks, we might just see you there. Have a safe racing weekend.
Good night.
You've been listening to the Stock Car Show on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stay tuned to Performance Motorsports Network for more race talk. For the latest motorsports news, visit racechaseronline.com. The Stock Car Show is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com. A member of the Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page or our section on the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or the marketing partners. Be listening again next week when the Stock Car Show returns on Thursday night at 7 Eastern. Until then, stay tuned for more great motorsports programming on the Performance Motorsports Network.